In the headlines, tight security in Jos ahead of APC presidential campaign flag-off. Defense headquarters places bounty on terrorist leaders, publishes their names and pictures. Academic Staff Union of Universities declares lecture-free day in protest of no work, no pay policy over half salary. Away from Nigeria, President sacks junior finance minister over corruption allegations. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for joining. And now the details. Security within Jos, the capital of Plateau State, was on Monday beefed up ahead of the All Progressives Congress presidential campaign flag-off in the state. Trust TV gathered that apart from security personnel stationed in different locations, fighter jets were also seen on aerial surveillance of the city. Governor Simon Lalong and Director General of the APC Presidential Campaign Council, while inspecting the Ruangpang Township Stadium, Jos, which is the venue of the flag-off campaign, told journalists that all was set for a hit-free event. He said that already the city of Jos and Plateau State was agog as APC faithful and the citizens prepare to receive President Muhammadu Buhari and other leaders of the party.
Now the remaining aspect is to organize and prepare for a very good reception. So you can see behind every successful man are good successful people. That's why I gave the mantle to the Deputy Speaker House of Representatives and my Deputy Governor, and we created the local organizing committee, which includes all of you journalists that are here to give them the input. And today, in the last 3 days I've been here. Today I have seen it, and I've seen a very remarkable improvement.
Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State has invited members of opposition political parties to inaugurate projects in the state. Members of the All Progressives Congress and Labour Party were invited to the fourth quarter 2022 project commissioning in Rivers. The week-long program commenced on Monday, November 14 and will end on Friday, November 18, 2022. Wike, a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, invited President Muhammadu Buhari and former Edo State Governor Adams Oshomole, both of the APC. Also, Labour Party's presidential candidate Peter Obi and the Mayor of Kano, Aminu Ado Bayero, made the list. Following the crisis that rocked the PDP, Wike has been parleying with opposition politicians, leaving many wondering whether he is about to switch allegiance. Former Chairman, Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA, Dr. Olajide Adeniyi, has called on politicians not to overheat the polity ahead of the 2023 elections to allow for a peaceful transition. Appearing on Trust TV program Daybreak Show, Adeniyi further stressed that the need for all stakeholders to work towards changing the fortunes of Nigerians.
Very cohesive family. There is no family, there are no quarrels. What matters is how you solve the quarrel. And whatever you think is happening in PDP is under control now. Well, that is what you believe. When you are constructing a building, people will not know the effort that you have put in the foundation. But when they see the building, everybody will just be clapping. They don't know the soil structure, they don't know what you are putting, the kind of reinforcement, the kind of concrete that you are putting in. Until the building begins to rise, then you will know that something is coming up. PDP is doing work. We want to salvage Nigeria. There is no pride that is too much for us to drop to make sure that Nigeria makes it. And I want to assure you, what is happening now, the whole Nigeria will clap for PDP as the only democratic party. You know, PDP is the oldest party in Nigeria. It's the only party that since 1998 we are still PDP. Others are coalition of different interests. At times, journalists, I don't know how to rate you. A lot of things you hear, it's just, they are some are fallacy. Making fresh demand about, we have to share something geopolitical zone. First and foremost, our principal, the presidential candidate, is a nationalist. There is no way he will appoint service chiefs and all of them will be from one religion and all of them will be, it is not possible. So it's like preaching to the converted. When you are demanding that all the service chiefs will be shared equally, that is what the man is. And if you remove that one, the vice chairman from the North Central takes over. If you say the three of them should go, the deputy national chairman South takes over. We cannot have an acting national chairman from the South and national secretary from the South, which means both the accounting officer and the approval officers are from the same zone. So any reasonable person will not talk about, are you resigning now?
Staying with political matters, the Katsina State Social Democratic Party gubernatorial candidate Zakari Talba has pledged to improve on security if elected come 2023 general elections. The gubernatorial candidate made the promise when he unveiled his 7-point agenda at his campaign office in the state capital. Jamilu Mabai has more.
Declare our campaign council in office open.
While unveiling his agenda, the SDP gubernatorial candidate Ibrahim Zakari Ibrahim expressed concern over how insecurity, if not checked, can hamper any meaningful development.
I mean, security, everybody knows security is very vast. And I would like to talk on just one or two steps that we intend taking to at least change the security situation of our dear state. And secondly, we intend to engage the community. Communities meaning we have to go back to the old age, whereby you start from the grassroots, from, as they say, Ngua to Haikimi to Sariki before coming to the state level, because they are the ones that know people that reside in them.
If elected, he will use modern technology in tackling insecurity in the state.
Using cutting-edge tools. Gone are the days where you buy weapons, this and that and that. I mean, you can stay here, we're in America, you can shoot down somebody in Lagos. He doesn't need to see you. And you can monitor him with this CCTV and satellites and the rest of it. All other countries all over the world are using this, but yet we're still using the old ways of scaring lives.
He equally lamented on how bottlenecks stifled some of the investment he brought to Katsina while serving as honorary special advisor on investment and foreign relations to Governor Masari.
I mean, my team and I brought Velisco from Holland. The CEO was in Nigeria. He was in Katsina. He made our governor. And of course, he wanted to set up the Velisco factory in Molenfashi, this Holland fabric that our ladies wear. But unfortunately, it didn't see the light of the day. Probably from the federal government and the state government, I'm not too sure, but I believe it's the federal government that put a bottleneck along the line. And a major one is the refinery issue, which everybody is aware of. We single-handedly went to Niger Republic with our friends, spoke to the Nigerian government. They gave us their approval in giving us the feedstock. The feedstock is a crude oil. And of course, again, another bottleneck from the federal government just to give us the right of way. That's why it has not seen the light of the day.
Later that evening, he led a delegation, including his running mate, to the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency for integrity drug screening test. Jamilu Mabai, Trust Television, Katsina.
The Federal High Court sitting in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital, has nullified the All Progressives Congress governorship primary conducted on May 26, 2022, and ordered that fresh governorship primary within 14 days. Delivering judgment on Monday, the presiding judge, Justice Agatha Okeke, also disqualified the governorship candidate of the party, Akanimu Udofia, from participating in the primary, saying that he was not a member of the APC in the state. The court also ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission not to recognize Akan Udofia nor accept him as candidate according to Section 77, subsection 3 of the Electoral Act. The court orders fresh primary within 14 days. The Federal High Court in Abuja has adjourned indefinitely the trial of the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, in the terrorism charges brought against him by the federal government. Justice Binta Nyako put off the trial at the instance of Kanu pending the resolution of the federal government's appeal against the October 13 judgment of the Court of Appeal that discharged him of the terrorism charges. The federal government's appeal seeking the reversal of the Court of Appeal judgment is pending before the Supreme Court. Meanwhile, Kanu refused to appear before the Federal High Court on Monday. The refusal to honor the High Court was conveyed to Justice Nyako by the federal government's counsel, Mohammed Abubakar. He informed the court that all entreaties made to persuade Kanu to have a change of heart were rebuffed. The Defense Headquarters has released the names and pictures of 19 terrorist commanders who have been wreaking havoc in the northeast, northwest, and north-central zones of the country. The Director, Defense Information, Major General Jimmy Akpo, who revealed this on Monday, added that it will give 5 million naira to any Nigerian who has information leading to the arrest of the terrorists. He urged those with useful information to contact the Army on mobile phone number 091-3590-4467. General Akpo said that the development became necessary to sustain the tempo in the ongoing clearance of adversaries as well as to completely restore peace to the country. The names of the terrorists and their origins can be found on the website of the Nigerian Army. Borno State Governor Umar Zulum has reopened Gamboru Ngala Cattle International Market during a two-day visit to the local government. The governor commended President Muhammadu Buhari for his support to the state, especially during the time of insurgency, which had ravaged basic infrastructures in the state. The reopening of the market comes 6 years after closure due to insecurity in the region around that time. Governor Zulum lamented, apart from the floods, elephants have destroyed farmlands in 2 local government areas, which necessitated the distribution of relief materials to affected people.
We still have some challenges here in Gamboru Ngala because this year the communities have experienced flooding. That's one of the reasons why we came. And the second reason why we came here is that still some couldn't have access to their farmlands. And that has necessitated the intention of the government of Borno State to come and continue with the distribution of food and non-food items. And I think Ngala local government is one of the communities that we shall continue to provide such support until after the next rainy season.
Yes, sir. By complying with all instructions. Please, we do not want any act of disobedience to guidelines that will be given following this commissioning. And anyone found wanting shall be dealt with in accordance with law, just as the governor has said. Please, we are begging every one of us, let us comply and cooperate with all security agents.
You're watching the news update on Trust Television. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at CBN pledges to protect Nigerians in rural areas. Details of this and more after the break.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
My version of politics is in line with Aminu Kano version of politics. We are always worried about the situation of the poor. I mean well to all Nigerians. I'm not against anybody. I'm not fighting anybody. In Kano, we caught some people buying PVCs. Hundreds, not one person, not two people, not three people. We're not hearing anything about it. In fact, somebody told me it's across northern Nigeria. People are buying the PVC. What they are going to do with it, only God knows. But I'm sure the police in Kano by now would have known what they intend to do with it.
Welcome back. This is the news update on Trust Television. Here's a reminder of our top stories again. Tight security in Jos ahead of APC presidential campaign flag-off. Defense headquarters places bounty on terrorist leaders, publishes their names and pictures. Nigerians are divided over the implementation of the Stephen Orosanye's report on the need to merge and reduce ministries, departments and agencies as a way of reducing the cost of governance in the country. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports that while some want the Buhari government to summon the will and implement the recommendations before end of its tenure, others say that doing so is counterproductive and will compound the unemployment crisis in the country.
Of the Steve Oronsanye's Committee on the Trimming of Ministries, Departments and Agencies (MDAs) continue to gather dust, while the federal government grapples with the challenge of meeting its financial obligations due to mounting debts and increase in revenue leakages.
We're talking about cutting them down, merging somewhere they need it. But you go back to the National Assembly every day, they are passing laws, establishing new agencies. And the same president is assenting to these laws.
We should start from the top. If you start from the top and reduce governance, then before it will come down to the parastatals and the agencies, then you must have solved your problems.
Could that be done without tampering with the actual quality of service to the Nigerians? That is the most important thing. The essence of creating all these ministries is to deliver services.
Subsequent white paper on the report produced by a committee headed by the former Attorney General of the Federation, Bella Adoke, is suffering the same fate, while the nation contends with high cost of governance, denying the citizens even the basic requirements of life.
We have the resources within our range. Why can't we process those things? When we do that, all those expenditures on the subsidy, that money is a big money already, that the government can use to settle some of the problem in our country.
Actually, if you are talking of cost, that's not the only way. That's not, in fact, the best way to reduce costs in Nigeria. Look at the politicians.
If there is the will to put Nigeria first, I think there's a way. There's a way. There is something that people saw that he could do, that Jonathan did not seem to have the power to do.
Despite repeated resolve to implement the recommendations of the Oronsanye Committee, respondents say inability of the Buhari administration to defy the forces wanting to maintain status quo may undermine the desire to meet the objective. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The United States Consul General in Nigeria, Will Stevens, on Monday said that the U.S. is committed to ensuring credible elections in Nigeria in 2023. He charged Nigerians to participate in the election process by ensuring that they vote for candidates of their choice. Hamidu Igbade files in the report as presented in our studio.
At a training for journalists in the Southwest on election reporting, Stevens said the U.S. government allocated over $50 million for technical assistance and support to Independent National Electoral Commission and the civil societies in the country. Stevens charged the media to ensure thorough and objective reporting of the 2023 elections.
We really want to see a credible, transparent, peaceful election that above all represents the will of the Nigerian people. And our programs and our funding are about process and encouraging people to vote. Because when people participate in a democracy, they feel like they have a stake in that democracy. When they vote, when they read your reporting, they feel like they're part of the project of Nigeria, just like the project of the United States.
Media experts Professor Lai Osho of Lagos State University and Professor Christian Ulasi of School of Communication, Texas, Southern University said democracy cannot survive without the media. Osho and Ulasi appeal to journalists to be neutral and always ensure that their stories are fair and balanced.
Media should provide us space for different voices to express themselves on, national issues, so that all of us can be better citizens.
The goal is to make sure that there's a broad representation of what is going on and how that reaches the broader electorate, people who are going to cast their vote eventually.
The West Africa Broadcast and Media Academy Election Reporting Project Team Lead Ken Ike Okere charged journalists to guard against fake news by fact-checking their stories and sources.
We want to show those we will train how they can fact-check stories, how they can be sure of their sources, how to do investigations, how to be able to balance their stories, and also how to be safe.
Some of the participants said the training has further deepened the knowledge and equipped them for better performance.
We have a series of political misinformation and disinformation going around. So I believe that with this training, I will be equipped on how to fact check my source of news before pushing it out, and also on how to stay safe.
So the training received from this training will promote professionalism among the media practitioner in the country towards 2023 election.
Stakeholders here are unanimous in their belief that free and fair elections would strengthen democracy and aid good governance.
Kano State Police Command is to empower its tactical and other special operation units to ensure the successful conduct of the forthcoming 2023 elections. Addressing divisional and other senior police officers of the command, the newly posted Police Commissioner Mamman Dauda assured that the command will ensure peace before, during and after the elections.
I will engage the command's departmental heads, area commanders, divisional police officers, or tactical commanders, other officers and men, to continue to work in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Police Act, rule of law, the respect for human rights in line with international best practices, to ensure that police in Kano Command perform optimally in its duty, professionally, to the best of its ability, to ensure effective and efficient provision of delivery to the citizens of Kano State.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities has concluded plans to embark on a one-day nationwide protest over the payment of half salaries to the lecturers by the federal government in October. ASUU National President Emmanuel Osodeke confirmed the development on Monday. According to him, the planned protest was organized at the branch levels of ASUU nationwide, adding that each branch of the academic union will choose its dates. Last week, ASUU slammed the federal government over the payment of half salaries to lecturers in October. The union condemned the pro rata payment to its members and accused the government of an attempt to reduce Nigerian scholars to casual workers. And in business news, ahead of the planned redesign of the Naira, the Central Bank of Nigeria has pledged to protect Nigerians in unbanked, undeserved and rural areas. The CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, who announced this during a special press briefing, said that the new design and issues will be effective December 15, 2022. He had explained that the Apex Bank secured the approval of President Muhammadu Buhari to roll out new notes to replace the existing currency in circulation. About 3 weeks after the announcement, the Apex Bank issued a statement saying it had been collaborating with relevant agencies and other stakeholders in the financial system to ensure that vulnerable citizens were not disenfranchised. In a statement, CBN's Director of Corporate Communication, Osita Wanisobi, said that some progress had been made as there had been increased currency deposits across banks and other financial institutions. Away from Nigeria, Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo has sacked Charles Adu Boahen, the Minister of State for Finance, the presidency said on Monday, after allegations of impropriety were circulated by popular Ghanaian investigative journalist Anas Aremeyaw Anas. Akufo-Addo made the decision after being made aware of the allegations against Boahen in the documentary Galamsey Economy, which is due to be aired in the capital, Accra. It was made by the famous investigative journalist Anas Aremeyaw Anas, who has broken several corruption scandals in the past, including the Ghana Football Association and the judiciary. Some excerpts have already leaked, and one of them in particular has caused controversy. According to the documentary, Adu Boahen claims nearly $200,000 from investors to give to the vice president. Boahen has not commented on the allegations made in the teasers. The president has also announced an investigation. And that's a wrap on the news update. Watch more via all our social media platforms and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for watching.